Hey everybody, welcome into my channel. Today I want to share with you guys why it is so important for us to always make sure that we take time to just rest and to spend time alone, not be alone all the time, but to just spend time alone and just pray to the Lord and just recharge and just not uh, make quick decisions because like throughout the week, when you're working or whenever you're doing things, everything kind of goes like this sometimes. And you're just like going and going and going. And if you're tired and you're exhausted and you're weak or you're anxious, oftentimes that's when Satan can really do his work on God's people because you're so tired, you're so exhausted, and you got so much going on that you haven't just took the time to say, hey, let me actually just pump the brakes, take time and just be alone and just rest and just pray and just conversate with Christ. Because if you don't take that time, that's when Satan can really, really sift you, which that actually kind of brings me to a story. So when I go here to Mark 30, verses 31 through 33, so the disciples had been out healing the sick and sharing the gospel with other people, just like Christ had wanted them to do. Christ also let them know just how important it was for them to make sure that they actually rested and ate. So this is Mark chapter 30, 31 through 33. It says, the apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. He said to them, come away by yourselves to a remote place and rest for a while. For many people were coming and going, and they did not even have time to eat. So right here, Christ lets them know. He says, come away by yourselves to a remote place and rest for a while. And so it goes on to say here, so they went away in the boat by themselves to a remote place. But many saw them leaving and recognized them, and they ran on foot from all towns and arrived ahead of them. So the disciples were trying to get away to rest and just to like recharge and eat and pray and just spend time with the Lord. But the people, they just kept pursuing them. Now, while it is good to share the gospel, to heal the sick, that is what the Lord wanted. But even doing ministry, it was so important that Christ had even let them know, like, hey guys, make sure that you're resting. Make sure that you are praying. Because if you do not have that time to think, then you're going to just make decisions quick. And those decisions may not be the best decisions. Luke chapter 5, verses 16, it says here, but the news about him spread, and this is Christ. It says, but the news about him spread even more, and large crowds would come together to hear him and to be healed of their sickness. Yet he often withdrew to deserted places and prayed. So what to take note about that is Christ was just doing so much. So many people were coming to him. He was sharing the word of God with them. But it says here, yet he often withdrew to deserted places and prayed, because Christ knew the importance of just taking time to rest, not just going and going and going and going. Because see, the truth is the spirit is willing, but at the end of the day, the flesh is weak. So right here, when I go into Mark chapter 14, I'm going to go here to Mark chapter 14. It's verses 37 through 42. Verses 37 through 42. So this was actually when the disciples were in the garden of Gilgamesh. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And they kept on falling asleep. And Christ actually let them know, like, listen, you guys need to stay awake and pray, because the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Because see, once you're tired, once again, like I was saying, that's when the enemy, Satan, knows exactly when to attack. When you're tired, when you're weak. Listen to this. So right here it says, then he came and found them sleeping. He said to Peter, Simon, are you sleeping? Couldn't you stay awake 1 hour? Stay awake and pray so that you won't enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Once again, he went away and prayed, saying the same thing. And again, he came and found them sleeping, because they could not keep their eyes open. They did not know what to say to him. Then he came a third time and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? Enough. The time has come. See, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up, let's go. See, my betrayer is near. So this is when Judas and the other soldiers were coming and they were about to take Christ away. But do you see how important it was that Christ made clear to them? Stay awake and pray. But see, they were tired. They were exhausted. And see, that's how we are in our day-to-day lives. Like, if you're going and you're going and you're going and you're going, well, you're not going to want to feel like praying because you're so tired. You're going and you're going and you're going. Well, now you don't really have time to eat. You're very, very anxious. You're quick. You're quick to make decisions. You're quick to want to do things. And then that's when people say, oh, look at him. Look at her. How can they be Christian if they're acting this way? But see, you only acted that way because you were tired. You were anxious. You were angry. You were ready to just be quick about things. But the body was just so tired. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So when I go here and I look at Luke chapter 22, 31 through 34, this was a time where Peter was pretty anxious. And he wanted to let Christ know, like, listen, if the Pharisees, if they're going to try to come and take you, or if anyone's coming to take you, I'm ready to go to prison for you. I'm willing to even die for you. But Christ let Peter know. He said, Satan has sifted you like wheat. Look at this. It says here, this is Luke 22, 31 through 34. Christ says, Simon, Simon, look out. Satan has asked to sift you like wheat. But I have prayed for you that your faith may not fail. And you, when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. Lord, he told him, I'm ready to go with you both to prison and to death. I tell you, Peter, he said, the rooster will crow today until you deny 3 times that you know me. This is what's important to note. Jesus said, Simon, Simon, look out. Satan has asked to sift you like wheat. With Peter's personality, Peter was pretty anxious. Now, it says here, look out. Satan has asked to sift him like wheat. Because when you're anxious, when you're ready, when you're going and you're doing this and you're doing that, you don't have time to think. And Satan knew that. So that's how Satan could basically mess with any of us. Not even just Peter, but any of us. Even when we go back and we look at John 13:27, and when it says that Satan had entered Judas, there's even something to be said about that. Because see, that lets us know That if we don't have time to spend with the Lord, we don't have time to pray with the Lord, well, it's going to be so much easier for Satan to attack you because you have not taken the time to rest. You haven't taken the time to eat. You haven't taken the time to just really just not be anxious, but yet you don't want to slow down because life is like this. Life is like this. You're just going and you're going and you're going. And Christ even realized that you have to take time, be alone, pray, and recharge. And hey, he lets you know that's okay. I'm going to go over here to Matthew chapter 16. Right here, and I don't want people to think I'm picking on Peter when I'm saying this, because the thing is Christ knew just how anxious Peter was, because Peter had passion. Peter had a lot of passion, y'all. And Christ knew that. And that's why even Christ has said, like, he's going to strengthen his brothers, because Peter had such passion. But Peter also had this anxiousness about him that he was just like, okay, hey, let's do this. And Christ just had to like let him know, like, hold on, Peter, hold on. When you go to Matthew chapter 16, 22 through 23, so right here, Christ basically lets the disciples know that he's going to suffer many things from the elders and the chief priests and the scribes. You know, they're going to kill him and he's going to be raised on the third day. And so right here at verse 22 of chapter 16 of Matthew, it says, Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. Oh no, Lord, this will never happen to you. Jesus turned and told Peter, get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me because you're not thinking about God's concerns, but humans' concerns. Right here, Christ let Peter know, like, listen, you're only thinking about yourselves. You're not thinking that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. He loved the world. This was about salvation for the world. It was not just about the people that were just right there, but it was for the world. There was such a greater purpose that God had for Christ, which was to save us, to save humanity. When we go back and we look at that and we read that, we can see right there that Peter, yes, he was a leader. Peter wanted to be right. He did not want them to take the Lord from him. But Christ was trying to say, Peter, there is a greater purpose. But see, that's what happens when you're anxious, when you're ready and you're not thinking and you think you know so much more. And Christ said, get behind me, Satan. Because Christ knew that there was such a greater purpose behind his death, that he would rise in 3 days. Make sure that whatever you do, y'all, you take the time to rest. You're not anxious all the time and you're just ready to go and do this and do that and do that. Because I'm going to tell you, and I'll be honest with any of you guys, if I'm not resting, if I'm not eating, if all the time I'm doing this and this and this, how am I going to stay within the will of the Lord and I'm going to do the right thing by the Lord? I can't. There's no way I'm going to do the right thing by the Lord. Like, even as far as me reading this Bible, I would not be able to share any of this with anybody if I had not taken the time. So if I had just opened up this Bible and I said, oh yeah, let me just read this verse to you guys, and then that's it. No, I want you to understand what it means the way I understand it. And see, that's what Christ was trying to do for the disciples. He wanted them to understand the importance of resting, recharging, taking time to eat, taking time to be alone and just pray with the Lord. Take time and just communicate with the Lord. I've said this before, I think in one of my videos before, but what I do before I go into work is I'll sit in my car, I'll pray for the staff, I'll pray for the people that I'm working with, and I'll be like, Lord, I really want to have a good day today. I don't want to deal with any crazy people and just chaos and drama. And I will take that time to just pray to the Lord. But if you wake up and you get your coffee, you get your clothes on, and you run out the door and you run to work and everything's chaotic around you, or this or that's going on, you're not going to be able to think clearly in the things that you're doing. And so anytime I'm tested by people or crazy things they go on around me, I want to know how to react in those situations the way Christ would react. Y'all, listen. I'm not saying I won't make a mistake, because like Christ was saying here, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Stay in prayer. Stay in prayer. Slow down. Take time. Pray to the Lord. And listen, He's going to see you through it. You will never, ever go wrong if you slow down and you take time and you pray to the Lord. Okay? So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today about making sure that you take time to just rest. Because listen, at the end of the day, our fleshly bodies, they are weak. But I promise you guys, if the spirit is connected directly to God, we are strong, but only through Him. That's my message that I wanted to share with you guys today. I want you guys to take care out there, stay blessed, and I'll see you next time.